So I'm going to start off with a little story because some of you may or may not know, but many years ago I went to boarding school and I was down in near London and a beautiful school. And of course, when you're at school, your whole schedule is assigned for you. So there's a bell when you wake up, there's a bell to go to breakfast, there's bells throughout the day for the different sessions and lessons. And basically your whole life is dictated to you in terms of your scheduling. And that's great because it gives you a structure. But of course, when that disappears and goes away, how are you going to create your own structure? And I remember at school, not only did I do the normal lessons and everything, I was very involved in all sorts of extracurricular activities as well, including badminton and hockey and music and art. And every single lunchtime and afternoon was completely filled up with all these after-school clubs and different commitments and study groups and things. And there was this one time where I remember I was coming up to my GCSEs. I'd been given coursework and homework, and I also had all of these other commitments as well. And I got to a point where it was no longer physically possible for me to fit it all in, let alone be able to achieve my grades and get my homework in and hand it over to my tutors. And I didn't know quite what to do about it because they were all quite important commitments. Anyway, I had a French teacher. And she was quite an old lady at that time. I don't know where she is now, but Madame Tamora, I send my love and regards and blessings out to you because she changed my life. And that moment of complete overwhelm, of panic, I turned up in her class and she says, "Where's my homework?" And I say, "I haven't done it." And she's like, "I gave you this homework 3 days ago. You should have done it by now. Where is your homework?" And I was like, I literally just cried. I was like, I don't know how to do it. And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I've got so many commitments." She said, "Give me your diary." And she literally looked through the last 2 weeks worth of what I had been working with. And she's like, "Right, come with me." She's French, okay? She's like strolled off down the corridor, took me to the staff room, told me to wait outside. And she went in and she spoke to all of my tutors. So all of the teachers that I had outstanding homework for, that was due in that day or this week. She went in and she rearranged all of my timetable in terms of when I had to hand in the deadlines for all of the different coursework and the homework so that I could function again in order to keep up all of my other commitments as well as my homework. And she came back out and she said, "Okay, I've spoken to your geography teacher, I've spoken to your English tutor, and I've spoken to your maths tutor, and we've just rearranged everything so that basically if you do this, this, and this, by Monday, you'll be able to be back on track." And that was my first indication of what it meant to actually schedule your time in a way that really works for you. And that's what I wanted to share with you today, because Madame Tamora's kind of method shouldn't just be a last resort. We should be working with our time in our everyday lives to make us function so that we can get the important things done. And it's said that mastery takes 10,000 hours. Now, I don't know if you've heard that statistic before, but if you want to learn to play the piano really well, if you want to bake that Victoria sponge cake in the most perfect way, if you want to even learn to meditate, then you actually need to practice it. And the art of doing your to-do lists and doing your planning, that also is a skill that you need to master. And so if you can take time, what they suggest is once a week, maybe on a Sunday, which is a great thing that I'm talking to you about this today, you sit down and you have a look at what is coming up this week. What is it that you want to achieve by the end of the week? And make sure that you've allocated time to make it happen. Because unless you physically and in your mind allocate time, then nothing will happen. That scary thing is that you get to yet another week. Next Sunday, I'll be back here again and I'll be talking to you and you'll be like, I really wish that I'd just made that hour to, I don't know, clean the bathroom or put the sheets through the wash or, simple things sometimes that can just kind of clog up and they become jobs that look too big and that kind of can scare you out a little bit. So doing a little bit of planning is actually very, very important. Now, what I mean by planning is not a to-do list. Okay, so to-do list is what I would call a brain dump. It's literally everything that is going on in your head. Usually we put it on a to-do list. In fact, I have many of them. I think we all do. So your to-do list is, to start with, first list that you just need is get everything out of your head. Okay, so that is your shopping list. That is your, I need to put a card in the post because it's somebody's birthday. That is the doing the gardening, watering the flowers because it's going to be too hot. So you have to do it in the morning or the evening. So you have to make sure that it's done by a certain time so that the flowers don't die. Yeah, I know it all. So you have to find a way of scheduling your time then. So first of all, brain dump, literally get everything out of your head, because if you don't, what happens is that your head becomes so full that you become stressed and anxious and you don't actually know why. And it's simply because there's all these little things going around in your head that are just like, oh, I must remember to do that. Oh yeah, next time I go to the supermarket, I must remember to pick up this. And it's all there in your subconscious, but because you haven't got it out of your head and put it somewhere else, everything is just going round and round and round and round and round. And literally that will cause anxiety and stress. And you suddenly get this feeling of, I can't cope. And you don't know why. And quite often it's literally that you've just got too many things in your subconscious that are just kind of clogging up your system. Okay, so first of all, do a brain dump. Get everything out on paper. Then what I do is I get several different bits of paper, and on the top of them I write different categories. Okay, so I've got my work category, and then I've got my my personal meditation and yoga practice, all that kind of personal self-care, which includes my health as well. So remember to take my supplements, remember to drink water, not have coffee, all those different things that you need to kind of remember. And then you move on to anything else in your life, like your family, your relationships. It could be, I don't know, you can fill in the blanks. But I basically have 3 different bits of paper, and they each have a different heading. And so from that big brain dump, which could be a mind map or anything else, you then put it into these different categories. Okay, now comes the next bit. Are you ready? You then need to prioritize it. Yeah. Okay, so then out of those different bits that you've got, prioritizing. Okay, so in my health and my personal practice piece of paper, what are the most important things that I need to do? Don't worry about the timing of it yet, whether it's today or tomorrow or next week. What are the most important things? So if you're really working with your weight or your health at the moment, it could be that you need to do, I don't know, a dairy fast, or you need to not have sugar, or you need to decide that you're not going to have caffeine, or the other way, I need to drink more water, or I need to go out for an exercise more than I am doing at the moment. So do you see what I mean? So you just kind of identify from that list what are maybe your 1, 2 or 3 top priorities in each of those different categories. Okay, so now you've got your brain dump at the top. You've got your different sets of lists which have different categories to them, and then you've prioritized those categories. Sometimes you can circle them or highlight them in a certain color. Then the best bit comes in. What are you going to do this week? So from those top priorities, from the things that are on your list, what are the most important things that you need to do this week? And what are the things that you would like to do this week? So it doesn't mean that you never do the things that you enjoy doing because you've got to do X, Y, and Z. It actually just means that you need to find a way to prioritize and then schedule so that you feel that you're in control. So that's a really, really important thing. And it's important that you do have things there that you enjoy, that you want to, that excite you. So I hope that gives you a little bit of clarity and perspective on how you might work with your to-do lists, so that the to-do lists don't just become a dumping ground of everything, that they become action lists of what you're going to do today and this week. And then every week, once a week, just spend an hour or 2 looking at the week ahead and planning so that you don't become overwhelmed.